Officially good afternoon. Happy Friday. Welcome to Options Income Launchpad Weekly Market Wrap. My name is Scott. I'm here with a select group of friends. We're going to have a panel discussion about market conditions. First, reminding ourselves that what we do is for education and illustrative purposes only. Nothing is considered or should be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell. Decisions made are at your own risk. We're not brokers or advisors. Don't give advice, yada, yada. It's all in there. You guys know the drill. Today, what are we going to discuss? We're going to discuss market analysis. Day trade open, watching closely. Let's keep us posted. Let us know. We can pull it up. What's your chart? 3 minute, 5 minute? 1 minute. Tick, tick, tick. Yeah, got it. Mindset for trades. What are we going to carry? What are we going to close? What to look for next week? We'll look through our watch list. We'll talk about record keeping one last time. The log. The log followed by the data that we get because we are rewarded for our logging. That's kind of the point. All right, what do we got going on? Okay, markets rallied and then pulled back. 0.23 on the S&P, 0.35 on the Dow, 0.31 on the NASDAQ. The Russell a little underwater, maybe got a little ahead of itself in its bullishness around the Fed cut. The prospects are pretty much the same as they've been. High 80s. I think very good chance we get that quarter point. And then from there they say it's going to be month to month. Okay. What else do we have? The data. Let's talk about the data. It's pushed it to the bottom for some reason. What do we have? Sorry, let me scroll on down. PCE, what do we got? So we basically got a little better income, delayed report, a little less spending. PCE came in as expected, year over year, a little better than expected, but still higher than previous. Core came in as expected. Core year over year came in as expected. What else? Consumer sentiment, a little approval. So overall, that's helpful because what do we have? We had a weaker than expected ADP, followed by not ideal, but also not increasing inflation, at least to September. Okay. What else? So that I think that I actually feel like that cements it, right? It cements it. Okay. Thoughts? Let me know. Let's pop in. Whoops. Where are my charts? There we go. WBD. The news came of a buyout. I don't know if we still have the exact number. Is there still some room for this thing? It's in a nice place. Anyone see the exact details on that? Okay. All right. WBD is up. Sorry, I'm getting to my watch list here. Netflix is buying them for 72. Was there a per share amount on that? Okay. Deadline 71 billion. Yeah, I think it's still pushing. I don't know. Maybe at this 26 and a half. I mean, we've got a little time to see if it goes a little higher. I'm just not sure if there is. Okay. Apple. I feel like Apple is ripe for a trade next week. Right? Okay. Sorry, I have a little sluggishness on my system. Okay, there we go. Couldn't get the drawing tools to load. Yeah, so it was a nice move here. Certainly in a consolidation. Here is the old resistance for new support. I think this is a prime candidate for a potential trade next week. Loving it. An alert developing there for sure. This one's obviously hitting some resistance, but we need more consolidation. Just kind of look at this and see where would the next opportunity be. We'll keep an eye on that. Amazon already slowing down. We already have a little bit of a small consolidation. Sellers are coming in. So I think there could be something developing. We could see a breakout. You'd have to decide if you would take that versus if it just kind of slow. I always love the classic. I mean, we'll see. Tell me if I hit on one that you're thinking about, or have traded before. APH, maybe. ASX is hitting some resistance. AVGO, we talked about this. I would actually be considering this. The stochastics is pinching. But if you see this as still kind of flaggish, the only problem with this is it didn't hold the high. B, it didn't have much volume. But the biggest problem is, of course, C, there's earnings in just a couple days. So I'm going to watch, but I didn't end up pulling the trigger. AXP? I don't know. Interesting. BAC. Kind of just still bumping this resistance, still in an overbought. I think a consolidation would make an easier trade, easier to develop. See if we can't see more strength develop in Citi. Citi played out pretty strong in the financial sector. Caterpillar ultimately made a strong move up, supporting increased strength in industrials. Sienna's got earnings soon. CLS kind of just flat. Maybe turn into a bounce trade here. We'll see. Coherent. Still cooking. No trade. There's no entry. But if someone was in it, they're still cooking. Credo setting up. I like your comment. Flagging here for me on Credo, which means it could turn into a just normal consolidation and pop down. It could try to make a breakout, somewhere, through here. I would only give it like another day or two, and then it would be more of a something like that. As I look at these pullbacks, could they flag and break, and we'd have to be like, ooh, that might be the buyers, and we got to jump. Cisco is still fighting. I think there's still momentum here. It's moving into an overbought position. There's a low amount of volume. There's a heavy resistance through here. So I'm going to give it. And if it can pop to touch that, I might take some off and then see if there's some more to go. It's pretty good. Pretty strong trend. I think there's still plenty of potential for momentum. Delta overextended. DIA. Fox ended up moving well. First Solar. Definitely a strong candidate on my list. Came back, bounced, didn't make a big move because a lot of things didn't. But as it pulls back, I've got a little cup and handle here where I think, maybe not, maybe one of these at least. Something like this developing, heading up towards 300. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Setting up for an early potential signal next week. GE. You can still see the same consolidation. There's no expectation for us here until it breaks out, retests. It could consolidate all the way to the 200 for all we know. I'm not bearish on it. I'm just saying there's some people feel like because you are looking for it to bounce here, then you're still looking for it to bounce here, and then you're like, well, and it's like, no. At this point, we're assuming that the buyers just they're fizzling and gold, possibly a consolidation that could become tradable. GM turned out to be stronger than Ford. Nice strong move up. Pullback would definitely set up another trade. Google. So again, two things are happening potentially. So there was this, and then we said, okay, that could be it right there. That's the buyers. It was a pretty decent volume day. And now you can see it's just sort of pausing a little bit, but we do see this pinching. Could just take off. It could have a little pullback. I would think, I'd give it some room, but I'm holding. I think the bounce is still right there for it, setting up. Goldman Sachs. It's good to see some of these financials doing well. So, okay. Howmet broke the low. Now it's pushing the 100. I kind of feel like the sellers have taken over, and you want to at the very least wait to see what they do, or are they done? Doesn't look done to me. It's sitting at the lows of the day. Sellers are going to close this thing down, it feels like. IBM. I think you could make an argument. It held the 50, turned up, had just this little pause right here. It did pull back. It is turning back up again. I think you'd actually be able to come into this with Heiken Ashi and say, hey, I can take this trade with a stop just above 300 right underneath and try to catch the next one of these. Definitely can make an argument. I didn't put the alert out. We already had a couple this week. I didn't want to overload, but I was like, this looks interesting. Tell me if you thought about it. Tell me if you saw it. It's an interesting one because it can move, and it might be that this was the consolidation. Let's look at this on a weekly for just a second. On your list as well? Love it. Okay. Intel. Big move yesterday. Already starting to stabilize. This one could be just like a quick little, this would be more of like a pennant. But a pennant and a flag are very similar in their thought process. So if it were to break up, potential trade. If it were to consolidate down into this area, potential trade, right? So same kind of a thing where you kind of think, I've got a day or two where that's when that pennant is valid. If it kind of smashes out of that high momentum. You can see kind of a, this was flaggish right here. There was no pull because it was a gap, but same thought process. And you can see when it broke out, it made most of the move, a little pullback, and then got the rest of it. So that's the thought process on the breakout. But if it were to pull back, we would still think, hey, this thing could set up for just a normal support bounce. Coming out of this, maybe you'd even give it a little bit further to just sort of hook up with that 50 as it comes higher up. I think it's good to visualize. As I say, oh, this is consolidating. Okay, to what? Like, it can't just be like a generic, okay, it came down a little bit, right? We want it to be a little bit more definitive, a little bit more like, if it's consolidating, what's tradable coming out of that in our bounce trade ecosystem? Now, of course, any bounce creates intraday opportunities. So as a day trader, I would love to be like, I'm going to trade this bounce or this breakout or whatever it is, right? And have that underlying momentum from the broader traders helping to sustain, go in the right direction, things like that. But from an alert standpoint, these are the things that might create one way or the other. Intel's definitely a good stock, good moving. It's got strong potential for moves, yada, yada. Okay, Intel on your list, thinking about it, looked at it, don't like it, like it. These are a few that I think are definitely showing some signs. Small caps today just sort of kind of stopping a little bit. There's clearly a heavy level of resistance. Remember, our thought process is recency and frequency. And so it hit it once, twice, and now it's there for the third time, which definitely makes that a pretty strong resistance. Yes, we did look at Google. I think Google, as I said, Google was an interesting one because this was born of we're gonna look at a breakout here. There was a decent amount of volume, not huge volume, but you can see that I'm already starting to get a little pinch here. It's kind of sustained, but I would give it a little bit of flexibility probably here, right? So that, if it were to go one more day, I think for me, this is still valid. I mean, the trend, the strength of it, you can see that sellers never last for very long, even if it makes just a small run. So, is there a chance that we see a little piece like this where it came out of that consolidation? Yeah, right. So you'd have to decide, do I give it the ability for a little test? Now, that one didn't do much coming out, so we'd be pretty, sensitive to it. But yeah, Google's momentum looks fine to me. Give me your thoughts. If you're in it, if you thought about it, if you're waiting, if you passed. Where was I? In it. That makes two of us. Okay. JCI. Okay, so this is another one where I'm like, we looked at it, we didn't take this, and then it started to go and then just stalled. And it's funny because if you've taken alerts, this happens to us sometimes. We take the alert and then it stalls. And you're like, ooh, now we've had times where it stalls and then it just, bam, does what it's supposed to do. Right? It's that, you as well, John? Okay. It's that second, that hiccup bounce. And there's times where people are like, oh, I got out of it. Well, this is the other side of that coin where we didn't take the trade, but we see this hiccup and we're saying, hey, you know what? These hiccups can actually be, that's the trade. And it's like, did someone have the fortitude to stay with it, or it never broke support, things like that. But for me, I'm thinking, we've been watching this and saying to ourselves, if this thing turns on Monday, boop, gives us a nice little candle, that's likely to give us this cross as well. But I would actually look at that and think, there's my trade right there. And I would be looking for a retest here, plus, I don't know, a little bit more. Something like that. JCI. I like industrials. Industrials seems to be improving. So there you go. Okay. Johnson & Johnson. Same setup. Still valid. Healthcare's still been strong. So, yeah, I think patience. Even if it pulled back a little further, I think I'd still be okay with it. Definitely looking for a little help from stochastics. A nice candle coming out of this thing, and then, great. I think there's a nice trade setting up there. Healthcare. We've been wondering if we'll get one. Lumentum, overextended. There's no trade. There's nothing. If you're in it, you're thinking about taking profits, tightening stops. If you're not, you're thinking maybe another opportunity will present itself on a pullback to this trend acceleration. You can see it really has accelerated again. Very strong. Eli Lilly. I think it's number one. It's $1,000 stock. It's a bigger pullback. It's starting to be like, is that a sell-off? I think Johnson & Johnson's better. I mean, this could be a bullish bounce if you love it, but I think $200 stock, slightly better technical setup. I'm leaning towards Johnson & Johnson. LRCX, overextended. There's nothing for us there until the pullback. I feel the same way about Macy's. MasterCard could be a little sneaky reversal showing up here. If this thing tries to turn around and come back into the swing, maybe. Meta. I already said I like Meta on the next pullback. We're still waiting for the pullback. It got here, then it kind of popped again. If I see this, maybe there's something there, and we start to think new trend. We know it has a good ability to go up near 800, so we could find a few trades popping that thing on the way back. In Meta, Don said, okay, nice. I hope you've been in it for a while. Morgan had a nice run up. We talked about financials. I wouldn't be surprised if you were in at least one. The alert never showed up right, or I just sort of, ended up not putting one together when I put a different one together. But again, I would expect at least a few people in some measure, whether it's Morgan or BAC. But it's good because we kept an eye on leaders, and all the leaders have done what? They've made these strong, higher high moves. So even if we don't find I'm going to go down to XLF. It's you're not seeing as much. I mean, it does look like it's like, hey, we made this almost a full V, and then it's like we got the full V and then some. But the leaders are really showing strength. So if we see this, we know that the stocks we're watching are definitely giving us some setups. So keeping an eye out for that. Microsoft, nothing yet. Micron. You could make an argument for that. I'm thinking I'm going to wait. But if someone said, I took it, I'd be like, okay, interesting. Yeah. Netflix, look at that, at new lows down there, just crashing down. Nvidia, there hasn't been enough yet. I haven't seen the buyers do enough. Considering next if it breaks, Craig said, I agree. I mean, you can see it's just sort of holding. But if you get that break, boom. I could see looking for a retest up here. And again, if I'm trading the break, I'm not waiting for a support. I'm not waiting for that. I'm saying to myself, this is what should hold. So I could put a stop just in that area. You should still be able to get a nice 2.5, maybe close to 3-1 on that. Okay, so when I throw something out like that, because we're in a nice informal setting, is it like helpful? Do you feel like it influences your trade? Are there times where you're just like, yeah, that's how I saw it already? I'm always curious. Is it validation? Is it ever like, you're like, whoa, I didn't see it that way at all. Anyway, let me know. PLTR. I think PLTR has done enough. Good. Glad to lend it. I think this has done enough at this point. Validation is always helpful, right? Getting comfortable with setting targets, making sure you feel like, yeah, that's reasonable. It's done that several times. It can do it again. Is my stop too tight or too loose? I mean, it's, of course, we're constantly making that evaluation. That's fluid like the market itself. I like this. Again, I think a pullback could be a nice potential setup through here. We'll be patient. We'll let it come. The Qs looks like it had a good break, and we've already been thinking technology's back into a leading position. So this one has held. Yeah, I don't love it, but I'm gonna give it a little patience and see if it can pop. If you're starting to close, it's a little under. I mean, it's kind of at break even. I think if I looked at it lately, it was right around it because we actually entered pretty early and then we got that piece. So if you've taken a little piece at any point where you're like, I took a little profit because it was there, I don't know. This one's an interesting one, but I do think. I mean, you can see that it could go sideways for a little bit and then all of a sudden it pops. I don't want to wait like that. You can see the same kind of a thing where you like thought it was going to go. And then boom, boom, it went. So I think the nature of the stock warrants a little more consideration for me. Roku. Ooh, look at Roku today. Well, maybe something's happening there. It's been kind of sideways for a while. Ross Stores. Nice, strong move out of earnings. I think a little consolidation. I always take that big candle, cut it in half. That's something in there. I'd trade that. But let me skip. Oh, so big today. I didn't love how big that was and how small volume. I was waiting for that one. Did anyone pull the trigger on that? Let me know. That might force me to watch Ross instead. Catch a better entry. Oop, I skipped. Let me go back up to RTX. Nope. Silver. It's overextended, looking for a pullback there. SanDisk. Okay, so I kept watching it, but I wasn't looking for it. But that's enough for me to think this is likely going to be, maybe it gets a little further, and then it pulls back, and that's my trade. That's where I think the next trade, I don't think it's going to be steep like that, but I think it could, move in that fashion, and we can find a couple of good trades there. So I'll watch that. See if it pulls back. Snowflake got beat up on earnings. Not much. I think I'm going to even I don't know. We'll watch it a little longer. We'll see. Little pullback on SoFi already. I feel like I'm more in tune with the others. SoFi kind of lingers down here by itself, and sometimes it looks great, but hasn't. Lately, it's been kind of all over the place, where the others have shown more strength. I'm actually thinking of kicking it. Unless someone makes the argument and says, no, I still like SoFi, I'm kicking it. It's up to this group. All it takes is one, keep it. Don's in it. All right, we'll keep it, Don. We'll keep it. What's the gap down today? 6%. Did they have some news? SPY, holding on to gains, but barely. STX trying to turn. You can see a little bit of momentum coming back into these storage. Teradyne still going. SoFi owes me. The debt will be paid. Love it. Oh, it's a good one right there. Teradyne. Nice. Love it. Oh, Craig. I might have said Don. Craig. Sorry. That's funny. Craig knows I'm a bit of a revenge trader at times. I just like to keep tabs. It's like, oh, that's paying for information. That's what it is. I lost money unless I use it to pay for information. I'm just going to, if I use it to get back a better trade, then I paid for information. Different objective entirely. Tesla. Huh? Back on a pullback. I would say it's valid. I just don't trade Tesla. There's something weird for me in trading Tesla where I just don't. I don't. TSM on a pullback. I would say actually yes again. Bullish dollar index down a little bit. Look at today's VIX. So, what happened? We got a new lower low. I'm going to give you a quarter point for that, VIX. We're at 1535. That's not bad. It sort of feels like it had a little sneaky little lower high there that we'll need to look at. I had a hard time in that because it never actually gave like a signal. At that point, maybe I should have been like, maybe that was. Maybe I missed that as I never got like a trading confirmation signal, but it's certainly weigh in. What do you guys think? Is this valid? And we should have actually given it a quarter point for that, which would have made us a little more bullishly inclined. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, we only got it. We were here as of the end of the week. So this thing sort of on Monday to Tuesday gave a sneaky little. I am thinking about a full half of a point on the VIX score. Tell me what you guys think. That would take me from that would be from a 0.25 to a 0.75. And when we're sitting at 15 and just had a lower high at 18, I think that's probably a yes. Lee says yes. I agree. I think it's going to be a half a point. Unless the market, I don't know, maybe even still it did touch it down here, but if it feels like it'll hold, then yeah, great. Great. That's exciting. I like that. I know some of you will be watching the video at home. You may not be able to feel the excitement the way we here in the live room. We're living it. We feel it. It's just not the same. I hope you can make it more to live attendance, all of you out there. All right. Wayfair. It's holding close to these old support levels. It's holding close to the 50. I don't know. I think there's better. WBD. Okay, so if you're in this, what do you think? Is there like a chance it gets to 26.50 early next week, or are we as high as we're going to get based on the tender offer? Is it worth holding? I'd love to hear from the crew. I think quite a few people. Are you guys in this one? Let me know. We'll come back to it. WDC, in WBD. What do you think, Don? Is there more room based on the tender offer? That's why I was hoping to get like a per share amount where it was just like, that'll be $26.70 a share. I'll be like, oh, I'll see if we can't get another 50 cents. More to go? Worth holding? Nice. Love it. WDC, again, we're seeing that same rebounding strength. Is it giving us a little reversal here? I don't know. This is storage. WDC, Western Digital. Walmart starting to slow down. Good breakout though. Again, let me illustrate. It did this, and then it had this little consolidation, and then it bam, that was it right there. And you'll notice it was this one. It wasn't those three in the last white, two red are the big. When it actually did the break, it didn't have above average volume. And then what happened? Boom. So, think about that. Is why we do take those sometimes. I think we still have one on deck. Yeah. Gap up in WBD. I mean, once the offer's in place, you tend to see something like this, where it goes and then it just sort of runs sideways like that for a little while until the offer happens. And so the question is, do we have enough room for a little bit more profit without losing on time decay, where we think we could get another 50 cents by mid of next week? That's kind of my thought right there. If I can get that, yeah, I think it's worth staying in for a little bit longer. And it seems like there is something like that. 26.50, 27. So that's kind of my thought on that one. Basic Materials. What is it doing? It shot up. There's the pull. There's the flag. It's flagging. If that breaks out, that's pretty bullish. That's things getting more expensive. It's kind of neutral more than defensive, but it is inflationary to some extent when we see that. Things are getting more expensive, right? Materials, plastics, building materials, things like that. XLC, Communication Services. Yeah, we like to see this. We already thought it was showing more strength. We're getting even more of that, and we're looking for Google to help lead it. I like to see that. That's helpful for our market posture. Energy popped, but held this old resistance. Still looks stronger than not, though, to me. Financials. Trying. Full V now. Almost got it, then got it. So, I think that we could... Financials on a small pullback, and we would trade that small pullback. Industrial, same thing. Same thought process for a trade. So if we have a little bit of a pullback going into next week, these are ones that I think are definitely setups. We've got good looking things, in my opinion, already starting to show like what we want for setups next week. I think we'll have a strong opportunity list. Technology. I think we may... I don't know. Sometimes you think it's going to... We haven't had any strength in sector rotation for a while. 3 weeks straight at zero. I don't know. Could be the week. Could be the week that we get a quarter there. That would put us 0.75 higher. 0.75 higher. I don't think anything else would go higher. SPY, it's not really enough. It's not enough to drop it. It's not enough to raise it. It's just sort of is what it is. Volume's going to stay the same. Let's see. Whoops. Let's see. Major market, probably going to stay the same. So, yeah, we could get back to a 4. Good VIX. Maybe a little strength in sector rotation. That's exciting. I'm excited. Santa rally. XLP. Staples. There's a bit of defensiveness here. Right? We saw this little sneaky reversal. And now all of a sudden we're seeing this mild consolidation, volume dropping. Sellers are already tapering off. If this thing breaks back above the 50 on the next bounce, that would also, if it breaks through that, then yeah, you know what? I think not good. A little bit of defensiveness there. That could erode some potential strength from sector rotation. We'll keep an eye on it. I don't think it's enough yet. Utilities, which we've been has had some hybrid tendencies, is actually in a nice downward momentum. Not a lot of defensiveness showing up there. Healthcare dropped. Looked like it might stabilize. Even still, and we're looking at it. Although I told you guys, I was laughing about this. I said, when I start watching healthcare and I get a trade ready, it's the end of the road. So let's see if that's true. I gotta go with it if I get it, but I'm just saying. XLY. Consumer discretionary. Now this was a strong move here. Yeah. Consumer discretionary. This is another reason why I like the real. Give it a little more room, because this is strong. It might have a mild pullback, but I think this is the kind of thing that again will show up in our sector rotation. It's a good strong V on consumer discretionary. The American consumer will prevail. All right. That's the whole list. Any questions? Any comments? Any concerns? Hey, Vladimir, good to see you. Just in time for the wrap up. Here's the summary. Thoughts on Pound K? Yeah, Pan W. What is that? It's Palo Alto. Whoops. PANW. I would say it's done enough to be viable for the bulls are back. It could keep going. You can see it's pinching, but there's still plenty of buyers. However, the volume is dropping off, so I don't know. The made 100 on the day trade. Nice. Per contract. Oh, well, then I hope you had 30 contracts. This is, I would say definitely I'm waiting for this for a pullback. Yeah, right? For me, this is just kind of like step one, it broke out. Step two, it regained. But step three is where I'm going to find my trade. Craig, I agree with what you're looking for there. Okay, the log. It looks a little intimidating, like spreadsheets sometimes do. But if you break it down, when you take the trade, it's this. Just these columns. And then when you close a trade, if you closed half of it, it's this. If it's the whole trade, that's it. You're done. And then if you broke it into two pieces, there's this. I'm gonna put it on. And if you ever have three, Steven actually built a spreadsheet. I need to upload it, but that's it. And if you want to put a journal note, you put it here. That's it. Now you're a record keeper. There's an author by the name of Jack Schwager. He wrote is interesting. He compiled based on interviews, but he did gain access to some of the most successful traders of the last 70 years. His first book goes back quite a ways, released in the late 90s, early 2000s, and interviewed people who were successful in the 50s, 60s, 70s. So it's very interesting to see market wizards, new market wizards, stock market wizards, hedge fund wizards, and apparently there's a new one even still. I love them, at least the old ones. I have the first three because they're just interesting reads. They're not really like, oh, here's your blueprint. It's just you get to see oh yeah, I had a lot of strife early on. I struggled. I blew up accounts. And then what did they discover that's important? What's the common threads of risk management psychology? But here's an interesting quote from Jack Schwager, who had interviewed all these guys. And he said, show me a good record keeper and I'll show you a good trader. When I heard that, I'm like, as hard as it is for me to sometimes get the motivation to keep records, which can be daunting, and sometimes I'm like, I have to do it. It's so important. So important. And then once we keep good records, then it's a matter of, do we have a good system to produce data, usable data, patterns show up. Oh, look, my percent winners is getting better. I'm doing something good there. Keep doing it. My losers are dropping. I mean, those are the patterns we're looking for, right? Is to see things like that. But this is your gift, right? Your gift for record keeping is data. And then you just have to create routines around analyzing data, finding those patterns, understanding what does that mean and what can I do when I see that in my pattern. There it is. That's my lecture. I'm going to step off my soapbox now. And we've got a couple minutes. Any questions? Everyone feeling pretty good going into the weekend? We're expecting snow here, but it doesn't seem like too much. My daughter's driving up today to meet my whole family shindig at a Christmas tree festival. Super fun. Oh, I can't wait. Good week. Ready for a break? Yes. Yeah, I'm ready for a break. I tried to put in a good full week, sitting up and, I wouldn't lay down till 5, 6 o'clock, ice it a little bit. How long should I shake my sidecar cocktail today? I would say take the standard, put 20% on it. It needs to be a little bit more shook. Yeah, me too. Thanks, Craig. I appreciate that. I'm excited to go walk around. And I literally, when I made these plans, I was like, am I going to be in a wheelchair? Am I going to be in a scooter? I'm like, oh, hell no. I'll be, no, you wouldn't even know. Except seeing that bandage sticking up the back of my neck. You wouldn't even know. It'll be just fine. Well, it's good to see everyone. We had a small crew, but a mighty crew. I appreciate you guys. Felt like the discussion was good today. I feel like we've got a nice set of candidates all lined up for next week. I feel like the market is holding up, showing improved conditions, if anything. Great. December should be a good month. Fed, don't fight the Fed. Fed's looking to accommodate one more time. Anyways, on to happy hour. It's good to see you guys. Have a great weekend. See you Sunday. As always, happy trading.